Hey guys, welcome back to Judo Highlights. So today I want to have a look at Tajima and all of his techniques. It's not really a breakdown video, just looking at his techniques, mostly Ippons. I did categorize everything. I put the Newaza at the end. It's quite interesting actually what he does on the ground. But we'll have a look at his stand-up first. And I will start off by just saying it sucks to be Dewit coming up against Tajima. Here he is, getting reversed and then pinned. And then here's a massive Sode Surikomi Goshi that he had to take for Ippon. And then this front Uchimata here. And those three things, the front Uchimata, the Sode Surikomi Goshi, and the Newaza, those are definitely the three big things that he uses in almost all of his matches. Now I don't know if you guys know this, but here he is competing against Arai. And this was kind of before Arai took off. And this was at the All Japan Openweight tournament that Tajima competed in. So he got a win here against Arai, but he also got another win, throwing this plus 100 guy for Ippon with a Sode Surikomi Goshi. And watch the elbow, smacks him against the chin. And it's not the only time I've seen Tajima do that, but it's not intentional, and it does happen a lot with Sode Surikomi Goshi. It's happened to me on occasion before. And then this was also cool to see him training with the Georgians at the Kodokan. Here he is throwing Grigolashvili with an Uchimata. But anyway, let's get into the techniques, and we'll start off with his signature throw. It is the Sode Surikomi Goshi on the left side, so he's a right-handed player, but he does this on the left, which is pretty standard if you're a Sode Suri guy. Here's a one-handed variation, which is always spectacular to see. Now this next clip, I want to show you guys the space that he creates with the technique. So you'll see at the beginning they're very close, and then Tajima will fade back, and that left foot will go back as well. So here he goes backwards, and you can really see the explosion upwards, pushing the hand upwards and entering with the hips. And now this next clip from 2017, which is quite a while ago, you'll see he did a different entry, and this is a real common way to enter for the Sode Suri. A lot of people do uchikomi this way. Right here, right foot goes across, and then the left foot steps in front of it, so it's kind of like a double cross step. But in recent years, he's stopped doing this. He just has made it more efficient, having that left foot back and then stepping it straight across. So it makes it really fast, really hard to see. And sometimes he just goes for it as soon as he puts that left foot back, steps in immediately. Now his right hand, sometimes on the lapel, sometimes he takes double sleeves. And then sometimes his left elbow will either come through or stay under the armpit. And I actually reached out to him on X recently, and he said he doesn't really care, doesn't think too much about it. He's just more worried about that contact with his back against his opponent. And then just lastly, before we move on to some other techniques, he does do a right-sided seoi-nage. But this was the only clip I could find, so it's mainly a left-sided sode that he's looking for. Alright, next up is the Osotogari. And a couple of times we've seen him do this throw. Although you will see him do this a lot, just kind of throwing the leg out there and seeing how people react and working off it. But of course, sometimes he does get Ippons and Wazaris with it as well. Here's a nice combination, Ochi Osoto, with that cross grip sleeve combination. And here's just one more. Now there's a good reason why he uses this technique, and that's because he mixes it in with his seoi-nage. Not a lot of success with this throw, but in a situation like this, for example, I think if you do this, it looks good in the eyes of the referee, so it's a good thing to have. Sets up the Ippon seoi-nage. Sometimes he's getting scores with that or the Osotogari. And then sometimes a moment of brilliance happens and it really does land. Now here you'll see him launch into the Newaza. And I do want to talk about this, but we'll save the best for last, the Newaza at the end of the video. And next up we'll talk about the front Uchimata. And so Tajima, a right-handed player, but he is doing this left-handed or on the left side as well. So he's doing the Sode on this side, he's doing the front Uchimata on this side, and sometimes it's not quite a front Uchimata, but it's more like an Ukigoshi. You see him here, not really lifting the leg a lot. But this technique, perfect for Tajima, a shorter, stockier guy, strong in the legs and the hips. And this is a great technique for him at under 90s. Where he can really get under people's center of gravity and just pick them up and control them. Hand deep on the belt there, and also up high around the lapel. Now he did try this technique against Bakauri, But Kaori, he's such a master of this technique as well. Knows it in and out, and they're doing this a lot in Georgia, so I mean, he knows how to counter this, and he did so perfectly in this situation, so I definitely applaud Tajima for trying it, but not this time, maybe next time. Maybe trying the Sode Suri would be a better option, maybe. Now in this clip, I just want to point this out, but from the coaching box, you can hear Suzuki scream, "Mada hayai, mada hayai," which means it's too early. So I kind of wonder if this is part of the game plan, kind of wait until they're more tired to try this technique. So maybe he likes to start with the Sode Suris, the Osoto, and then use the technique and golden score. Because when Tajima did win his World Championship in 2024, you can see here in the golden score, the semi-final, gets this technique, and then also in the gold medal contest, deep into golden score, goes for it again. So I'm sure Tajima, he loves this technique. Definitely a World Championship winning technique for him. Although his Sode Suri is just equally as impressive. And you can see here, attacking the outside leg with a bit of a kosoto on the way down there. So great technique by Tajima. The front Uchimata and Ukigoshi combo. Now in that same fight against Madov, we did see the Kochigari. And it's kind of interesting how he does it. Takes a sleeve grip. And you can really see the strong reaction with the fake of the Ippons seoinage. So it adds another ripple to his game, and here he is getting a score with it, off the cross grip. So it's a good throw, a good pair with the seoinage. And then one thing I'll say about Tajima is, even his kochi, all of his techniques are done on the feet, really goes to a knee, which is pretty rare for someone who does seoinage and kochi. And then last, one more piece of Ashiwaza that he has, a Tani Otoshi. Now watch the reaction going forward and then backwards. And then pay attention to the grip, the Aaron Wolf grip, high up above the collar. Alright, so we're finally here to the Ne-waza section. And you guys probably know that I'm not the biggest Ne-waza fan, but I did find this quite interesting. So Tajima, he loves this setup. So on the left side here, one hand that he's maintained from the throw on the belt, and then he takes that top collar grip. Now as he goes under here with his leg and his arm, he wants to trap that arm, White's right arm, from posting, but he doesn't get it here, although White still makes a mistake and Tajima still gets the turnover here. So what's interesting is, if that arm is trapped, he'll try to get a turnover, but if it's extended or posted out, like in this situation here, he'll look to attack it for an armbar. And then of course, you're going to pull your arm in to avoid the armbar, and then it's trapped. So it's either extended and you're getting attacked with an armbar, or it's in close and you're trapped and you get rolled over and turned into the osaikomi. So this was probably one of the greatest examples of it against Macedo at the World Championships. Perfect example. And I think a lot of people, the ref, Macedo, I think only Tajima knew what was happening in that moment. It was so quick to go on. So it's quite simple, but it's one of those kind of pick your poison kind of situations. Are you going to defend the turnover, or are you going to defend the armbar? Now this is another example, quite interesting. Han decides to hold on to the sleeve of Tajima. And then just pay attention to the quick decision making of Tajima. Sees what's happening, and then jumps straight on that armbar. So we'll end on this clip here. It's just a beautiful combination of everything, from the Tachiwaza to the Ne-waza. And you'll see him kind of utilize everything here. Looking for that armbar, doesn't get it, turning it into the roll. So yeah guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video on Tajima. Definitely an interesting judoka, someone we should probably talk about a little bit more. Here's the number 2, there is morale, but Tajima's world champion. So we should definitely put some respect on his name and talk about him a little bit more. Anyway guys, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.